Let's look at the question time now. It was a bit of a scattergun approach from Labor in question time, Andrew.
Sure was, and no one got shot. I thought Scott Morrison owned Anthony Albanese a bit there, to be honest, Kieran. I think if they're going to go the scandal route, which they were seeking to, they really need to hone in on one or two targets. I mean, they're trying to paint a picture of a government with integrity problems. They'd also say to you, Labor, we're setting things up. If McCormack says the wrong thing here, we can maybe prove down the track that he's misleading, but there didn't seem to be much solid. It looked more of a fishing expedition. They started it off after there was evidence in estimates that the ICAC bill's been ready for 10 months for a federal ICAC. They're saying, why are you delaying on it? I don't think there's any doubt the government doesn't particularly want to do it, but it's one of a number of things that the government were ready to push as an agenda at the end of the year. Then came the bushfires, then came the pandemic. Scott Morrison's argument is, well, come on, we've had a bit to deal with, and that's probably fair enough. But by the same token, I don't think they're that keen on pushing ahead with religious freedom or the ICAC, and we've seen them delay the preamble to the Constitution as well. All these things really put on the back burner. Let's hear these exchanges.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. And my question is addressed to the Prime Minister, and I ask this. Where the bloody hell is the National Integrity Commission? Yeah. I refer to evidence given today before the Senate by the Attorney-General's Department that the government has had an exposure draft of legislation to create a National Integrity Commission since last December 2019. I ask the Prime Minister, don't Australians have a right to see this draft, and will the government table it?
The Prime Minister has the call.
Yes, they do, and yes, they will, Mr Speaker.
And if we go back to the Deputy Prime Minister, one of these issues that Labor's trying to scrutinise, you asked him about those, potential contacts with Daryl Maguire, and then Labor did in question time.
Yeah, that's right. And there's fertile ground potentially here because they've been so close for so long. But I guess the question will become, are they just normal representations for his constituents that he's made that all MPs make, or is there anything more sinister to any of it? Anyway, they wanted to put him on the spot on it.
Has the Deputy Prime Minister had any discussions with disgraced former Liberal MP Daryl Maguire regarding any land acquisitions or road projects?
Road projects, yes, I have had discussions with the former member for Wagga Wagga, certainly in the electorate of Wagga Wagga, which he represents, and which I, of course, represent as part of the Riverina electorate. So, yes, I have had discussions with the former member for Wagga Wagga in that regard. As far as other land acquisitions, no.
Has the Minister for Regional Development had any discussions with disgraced former Liberal MP Daryl Maguire regarding regional business based in Wagga, Gateway International, that was the vehicle for the Cash for Visas scam?
The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Regional Development.
N.O.
So, definitive answers there from the Deputy Prime Minister, and he was also asked about the way that parcel of land, the $30 million land, was acquired, given comments made by the Finance Minister today.
That's right. Look, Michael McCormack could probably never live this down, given he said in a media interview after the scandal broke that it was value for money. But yesterday or last night in estimates, Matthias Cormann, the Finance Minister, saying it shouldn't have been the deal it was. It should have been compulsory acquisition. Pretty interesting. And McCormack put on the spot here on it.
Why did the government change course to acquire this land by agreement instead of through compulsory acquisition? Does the minister stand by his statement this deal was a bargain?
I was not the minister at the time. I became the Minister for Infrastructure in February 2018. This took place before that. That said, the entire purchase of the land is under 3 investigations, and I'm sure that when those investigations, thorough as they will be, will take place, the government will consider that review and act accordingly then.
Another issue, we said it was scattergun, it certainly was, and it got to a long-standing Liberal advisor, former advisor to John Howard and many others in this place, Peter Crone, and a contract that he had with the fire agency.
Yeah, get out of estimates, so they're grabbing stuff out of estimates. I noticed there was another question too about the Assistant Treasurer, Michael Sukkar, the fact when Finance investigated him over 60 Minutes allegations that his old law firm investigated. Scott Morrison had a lash back at that, saying you're impugning the law firm, it was at arm's length. But on this occasion with Peter Crone, who Labor called Crony, which was a decent enough gag, I guess, that was suggesting you're helping a political mate. Morrison was able to name a couple of his top bureaucrats who are former Labor staffers in response.
Last night it was revealed Peter Croney, an associate of John Howard and the current Treasurer, was awarded a contract worth $242,000 with the Bushfire Recovery Agency based on the recommendation of the Prime Minister's office. The head of the agency, Andrew Colvin, confirmed this week he'd never heard of the bloke. When Australia was suffering its worst bushfires, why did the Prime Minister's office give a job to the bloke they all call Crony? Why did Crony get the job?
So on this side of the House, Mr Speaker, if you're good at your job, you'll get a job, Mr Speaker. That's how it works. That's how it works, Mr Speaker.
Members on my left.
That's why the Secretary of the Department of Home Affairs, Mr Speaker, an outstanding public servant, and the head of the Attorney General's Department, Mr Speaker, both sat at the same desk in Kim Beazley's office when he was Leader of the Opposition.